As Harvard embarks on its 136th season of football, the Crimson are closing in on completing one of the most successful decades for any team in college football history. Since 2000, under head coach Tim Murphy, the Crimson own the 6th best record in Division I football, with 2 perfect seasons and 4 Ivy League championships. 2009 will be a challenge, as every team on the schedule puts a large bullseye on the Harvard game. How the Crimson respond will reveal the character and determination of these young men who are proud to wear the big H on their helmets. Proud of the heritage and achievement that is Harvard football. As the Crimson take the field driving toward another successful season, these players know that every young man recruited by Tim Murphy has graduated and won an Ivy League championship. They are determined to continue that era of achievement. Two top 25 teams, Harvard and Holy Cross, playing for the 63rd time in a series that began in 1904. It was the season opener for Harvard. Problem was, it was the 3rd game for Holy Cross, and the Crimson had problems eliminating first-game mistakes against a squad that was already 2-0. Starting for the first time at quarterback after sitting out last year with an injury, Collier Winters came out throwing and drove Harvard 79 yards for a score on the game's opening possession. Replacing 2008 Ivy League Player of the Year Chris Pizzotti, Winters threw for 195 yards, his second touchdown a 46-yard picture-perfect spiral to Chris Lordich from Chalfont, Pennsylvania. Returning all-Ivy back Gino Gordon from Bonita, California, found the end zone twice and gained 93 total yards. However, it wasn't quite enough in this battle of Ivy and Patriot League powers. Harvard welcomed Brown to Cambridge, determined to accomplish several goals. First, reverse the outcome over the one team that prevented an unbeaten 2008 season, and second, take the first step toward defending their Ivy League championship. It would not be easy. Trailing Brown 7-0, Harvard's junior quarterback Collier Winters took the high road, and the Crimson tied the game.
1st and 10 at the 30, out of the gun. Winters going to load up, fire complete. Schwartz caught the tight end, and he's in for the touchdown.
Harvard then grabbed the lead on a 3rd period drive that showcased Winters at his finest. The Claremore, Oklahoma native passed for 45 yards, ran for 23, and finished the 92-yard drive blasting into the end zone. Harvard 17, Brown 14 entering the final period. On defense, Colin Zitch, number 27, led the Crimson with 8 stops, including a sack. But it was a clutch 4th quarter pick by senior John Takamura that would set up the eventual winning points. After Takamura's first ever interception for the Crimson, Winters went right to work, picking out returning all-Ivy receiver Matt Lupp.
Winters with Scales to his right of the backfield, 2 wide to the left. He's rolling to the right. He's got some running room. Now he steps up and throws, looks end zone, touchdown!
In only his 2nd career start, Winters was named Ivy League Offensive Player of the Week after accounting for all 3 Crimson touchdowns. As the 109th meeting of these 2 Ancient 8 rivals drove toward the final minutes, the pressure fell on Harvard's defense to keep Brown out of the end zone, and they responded.
A final play. Back to pass is Newell. The Crimson rush 3. He's looking deep for the end zone, and it is broken up in the end zone. The ball game is over. Wow. The Crimson come away with the victory.
The hard-fought 24-21 triumph was Harvard's 10th victory in their last 11 home openers, and gave a good start in their quest for continued Ivy League success. Only 9 college football teams in Division I history have won 800 or more games. And now Harvard is one of them. The Crimson earned that historic number with a powerful blend of offense and defense at Lehigh. Making his first start of the season, senior Cheng Ho from Augusta, Georgia, rumbled for 132 yards and scored a pair of touchdowns. Second-team All-Ivy as a sophomore, Ho missed much of 2008 with injuries, but against Lehigh, Ho was back in the flow. However, the day's headlines were grabbed by the defense, which ruined Lehigh's hopes for an upset, forcing 5 turnovers. Interceptions by Collins Ditch and later John Takamura added Crimson points. The 60-yard return was Takamura's first touchdown wearing Crimson. Harvard gained its second triumph of 2009, 28-14, to reach that coveted 800 mark. But equally important, the Crimson were able to dominate on both sides of the ball. That could prove a recipe for success as the season continued. The Crimson packed their travel bags for the second week in a row, and after 60 minutes of football brought home an important milestone. Tim Murphy's 100th coaching victory at Harvard, becoming only the 5th coach in Ivy League history to win 100. Again, this week it was the defense that set the tone. Ancient 8 rival Cornell could muster only 9 first downs, were limited to just 62 yards rushing and a meager 182 total yards. Freshman Brian Owusu from Oxnard, California made quite an impression, pulling in a pair of interceptions.
Pass is intercepted at the 35-yard line. It's picked up by a sliding Brian Owusu.
On special teams, punter Thomas Hall pinned 3 kicks inside Cornell's 5-yard line, and the Big Red finished with just 1 return yard on punts. Offensively, it was a banner day for the ground troops. Running back Trevor Scales scored the first 2 touchdowns of his Harvard career and ran for 92 yards. The Stone Mountain, Georgia freshman was named Ivy League Rookie of the Week. Joining Scales in the end zone was junior Gino Gordon, who led all backs with 137 yards.
Handoff Gordon. He's got a seam up the middle and into the end zone for a touchdown.
Capping off the 28-10 triumph, quarterback Collier Winters showed he could not only lead a drive but also finish it. The Crimson now have won 9 of their last 10 games with Cornell, holding the Big Red to an average of less than 14 points per game. Following a non-league setback to Patriot League power Lafayette, the Crimson returned to Ivy competition. A triumph over Princeton would keep the Crimson sitting atop the league standings and would give them a 3rd straight win over the Tigers. Before many fans found their seats, Harvard found the end zone. It took 3 plays, 90 seconds, and the visitors were stunned. Chris Lordich took off, and Collier Winters connected with him for a 77-yard sprint for 6. The longest pass play of the season and 5th longest in school history proved to be an audible call by Winters. It was just the beginning of an outstanding performance by the Harvard quarterback. Early in the second period, Winters found 6'3" freshman Kyle Juszczyk from Medina, Ohio, and the Crimson were quickly putting the Tigers to rest. It also marked the 5th game this season Winters had tossed at least 2 touchdown passes. It's been 10 years since the Crimson held rival Princeton without a touchdown, and this squad was determined to match that accomplishment. Led by 8 tackles from John Takamura of Honolulu, Hawaii, Harvard kept the Tigers out of the end zone, limiting them to just 38 rushing yards and only 3 third down conversions. By contrast, the hosts rolled to 457 total yards and punched in 3 more scores.
A handoff to Gordon. Gordon toward the goal line. He is in for the touchdown. Handoff to Hull inside and into the end zone for the touchdown.
A 37-3 victory completed a 3rd straight win over Princeton as Harvard remained unbeaten in Ivy League competition. Harvard's explosive offense continued to fire up awesome numbers as Dartmouth could not find an answer to Crimson power. Tim Murphy's spread attack blasted the Big Green for 521 total yards, And for the first time in 10 years, a pair of Harvard backs rushed for at least 100 yards each. Freshman Trevor Scales, named Ivy League Rookie of the Week, carved up the Dartmouth D for 120 yards, including the game's first touchdown.
The handoff to Scales. Big hold, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. See you later.
Not to be outdone, Gino Gordon chipped in with 119 rushing yards and the game's second score.
Gino Gordon turns the right side to the 10, to the 5. Gino Gordon in for the touchdown. Crimson.
Gordon's record-setting day included 2 more touchdown runs and 4 pass receptions. The second-team 2008 All-Ivy back became the first Harvard player in history to both rush and receive for 100 yards in a single game. Gordon averaged an amazing 18.3 yards every time he touched the ball and was honored as Ivy League Offensive Player of the Week. Between them, Scales and Gordon pounded Dartmouth for 5 touchdowns. The first time the Crimson had run for 5 scores in a game since 1999. It proved a tribute to the dominant force of the offensive line. Led by Alex Spizak from Charlotte, North Carolina, and All-American James Williams from Chestnut Hill, Mass., Harvard rolled to more than 300 yards rushing. The final touches of a 42-21 thumping of Dartmouth came through the air.
Winters got all kinds of time. Got a man up over the top, wide open. Touchdown, Kyle Jezic.
With the high-scoring triumph, Harvard now had scored in double figures for 68 consecutive games. Whether through the air or on the ground, this Harvard offense was dominating opponents. In their 3rd consecutive Ivy League triumph, the Crimson rolled to 365 total yards at Columbia, giving them a total offense of 1,343 yards for their last 3 victories. Harvard's tailback tandem of Gino Gordon and Trevor Scales found daylight for 3 touchdowns, showing why the Crimson owned the top-ranked rushing offense in the Ivy League. The offensive line silenced the Lions' roar, giving Collier Winters time to complete 19 passes, including a bullseye to his freshman tight end, Kyle Juszczyk. On defense, Harvard tied the home team in knots, recording 4 sacks, 3 fumble recoveries, and 3 interceptions.
Looking downfield, and this one is picked off. John Takamura, good aggressive play, just reading the quarterback's eyes.
In his first season as a regular, Takamura put a stranglehold on Columbia with 6 tackles, including 2 quarterback drops. Defensive back Matthew Hansen from Lafayette, Colorado, chipped in with 5 stops, as Harvard's suffocating D limited the Lions to minus 18 yards rushing. Harvard advanced to 5-0 in Ivy play with a 34-14 victory. The season would narrow down to a pair of November battles. Penn and Yale stood between the Crimson and a 3rd straight Ivy League championship. Torrential rain, blustery winds, and a visiting University of Pennsylvania team put an end to Harvard's hopes for an undefeated Ivy League season. On a wild afternoon, where there were a total of 7 fumbles, the Crimson fell behind and then battled hard, making every attempt to erase the deficit. A third-period 45-yard bomb from Collier Winters to Chris Lordich narrowed Penn's advantage. Determined to battle till the final whistle, Winters drove his team within inches of more points, but the final push was just frustratingly short. On defense, Colin Ditch and Sean Hayes combined for 18 tackles to keep the Quakers off the scoreboard the entire second half. As Penn won by 10, Harvard suffered only its 8th setback at Harvard Stadium since 2001. One game remained that could excite Harvard fans around the country and make this a season to remember. It was first played on November 13, 1875. Now, for the 126th time, Harvard meets Yale in one of the most storied rivalries in any sport. So immortalized over the years, it is known across college football as the game. 27 Ivy League championships and 18 national titles have gone to the winner of this annual showdown. But few games in recent memory would test the courage and valor of the Crimson as the 2009 trip to Yale. For nearly 52 minutes of action, Harvard moved the football but could not put a point on the scoreboard. With some 8 minutes to play in front of a national TV audience, an upset-minded Bulldog squad led 10-0. Time was quickly running out as the visitors began a series from their own 24. Tim Murphy knew his team possessed the determination to turn the game around. On 4th down from the Harvard 30, rather than kick, Murphy watched as Gino Gordon's second effort run ignited the Crimson offense.
Gino Gordon hit. Gordon breaks away at the 40. Great second effort, first down pickup. That was all Gino Gordon. They went with that draw play, and he just bounced off the first tackle, stutter stepped, spun out of the other one, and able to get about 14 yards on that play right there and keep the drive alive for the Crimson.
Collier Winters completed the 6-play drive with a perfect pass to a streaking Matt Love.
Looking to the left, looking back to the right. Now he's down the middle. Got a man open, Love. Touchdown, Crimson.
With a little more than 6 minutes to play, the Crimson had to stop Yale. And stop the Bulldogs they did, when Captain Carl Ehrlich and Sumner Webster combined for a sack. On 4th down, Yale tried a trick play, but Anthony Spadafino ended the run short of a first down. That set up Winters and Harvard at the Yale 40. Under 2.5 minutes to play. The biggest victory in the biggest game was within reach.
He's going to shoot it down. Got a man! Touchdown, Chris Lordich, with 1:32 remaining.
Lordich finished with 6 catches, including the one that put Harvard on top for good. Yale had time to recapture momentum, but John Takamura's 4th interception of the season may have been his most important. The resilient Crimson had fought through frustration and adversity to win the game. Their 8th triumph over rival Yale this decade. For leading the clutch comeback, Winters was named Ivy League Offensive Player of the Week. The 14-10 victory in front of more than 50,000 at Yale Bowl demonstrates the never-give-up spirit Tim Murphy instills in his players. It also completed a rare streak of success. 9 consecutive seasons of winning 7 or more games. No Ivy League team has ever matched that record. As a team, Harvard once again established itself as the top offense in the Ivy League, finishing with the #1 scoring and rushing offense and #1 in passing efficiency. Also, they ranked #2 in total defense. In his first season as a starter, Collier Winters led the Ivy League in passing efficiency and was #2 in total offense. Freshman Trevor Scales, who averaged 4.5 yards per carry and scored 5 touchdowns, was named Ivy League Rookie of the Year. 5 Crimson players were awarded first-team All-Ivy selections. Offensive lineman Ben Sessions from Little Rock, Arkansas. Offensive lineman James Williams. Running back Gino Gordon. Defensive back Derek Parker from Atlanta, Georgia. And defensive back Colin Zitch. A total of 10 players were named to the All-Ivy second team. This Harvard squad epitomized the winning tradition established by their coach. They continued their success against Yale and now have won 8 of the past 9 games against the Bulldogs. Their overall record since 2000 of 76 wins against only 23 setbacks is among the best in college football. Under Tim Murphy, the Crimson of Harvard continue to embellish their achievements, playing exciting, disciplined, winning football. Harvard football.